Hey, what's up? This is JC with Wrongtostrong, and today I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my story. When you're in the dope game, you take losses. I took a loss that almost cost me my life, and I'm gonna share that with you guys today. What's up, Wrongstrong family? JC, you know what it is. Wrongstrong is a lifestyle. This is my channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell, leave a comment. Today I'm going to share a part of my story where a loss almost cost me my life. It was some time ago. I was working with these two twin brothers, and sometimes I was able to tell them apart. Sometimes I wasn't, but you know, they were a good friendship to have, if you know what I mean. That day, the shipment got into Chicago, and I got a call that morning, and I was given, my portion. I had my runner on standby. And what I mean by runner is the guy that takes care of your business. Your runs around you. He runs around for you. He drops off, picks up, blah blah. That's what his job is. So I had him on standby, but I had no idea what was about to take place that day. It was gonna be one of my biggest lessons in life. And I was going to be asleep because I wouldn't pay attention to it. But one of my biggest downfalls, for real guys, has been that I trust a lot, and I'm very, very loyal. In the game, it's a double-edged sword. It could either rise you to the top, or it could bring you crashing down real fast. That night, I gave my runner my portion. He was paid well for his time and his sacrifice, so it never crossed my mind that he would do what he did that night. And that being said, being in the dope game, it's a very selfish game because you're profiting off of other people's pain and suffering. You're benefiting financially from drug addicts and people that are addicted to these things. My runner was supposed to go from A to B and call me. That call never came. The next day, I must have called him about 50 times until about noon, when I really realized he was not arrested. He was not killed. He had robbed me. The problem with that is that no matter what happens, that money still needs to be delivered. That money still needs to be given to the owner. And this is what I mean, where they make all these movies and they glamorize this life. Scarface, Goodfellas, Casino, all these gangster movies that glamorize this life. And honestly, it's not what it's cut out to be, man. Like, it's not. You don't know how much pain, sacrifice, and just mental health it takes from you. And I'm talking about, through that whole life that I had like that, I was losing half of my hair on my head was gone. I thought I was going to be bald like for the rest of my life. Sleepless nights, always wondering if the feds are going to kick your door down. Paranoia of, people wanting to kill you and rob you and tie you up, and all these things fall into place with this lifestyle that, it's crazy how greed and money don't make you see that. A week after endless phone calls, I kind of came to my senses and finally said to myself, okay, I came to a conclusion. He robbed me. He got me. I didn't want to believe it. I was in denial because how could someone who I grew up with, like since we were kids, who his mom looked at me like a son. You know, she would take me in her house when I was a kid, feed me, and I would get to shower because I was, you know, homeless most of the time as a kid. She would take me in her house and she would do these things for me. So how could somebody that grew up with me do this to me? So I was in denial. I was like, I couldn't believe it. That same week, I heard a doorbell at my house, and I opened it. It was five guys. I'll never forget that day. 5 Mexicans that, trust me, you do not want to see these guys in front of your house because they're there for a reason. They call them the collectors. They're there to collect, and it doesn't matter how or what. They asked for their money, and I tried to explain to them what had happened to me and what was going on, and you know, and just, you know, plead my case. And they didn't want to hear the story. They didn't care. They didn't, you know, they just looked at me. The main guy looked at me, smiled. He said, "We'll be here in a week. Have the money." They were there to get the money, and that was it, point blank. They don't care. When you're involved in this stuff, there's a big price to pay. Just like big money comes a lot of problems and a lot of sacrifice. They were going to be back in a week. At that point, I realized that if I didn't come up with the money, it was going to cost me my life. This time. I told myself this time. Do you know how many times I told myself that? You know, I had a couple cars and trucks I could sell. I had my house that I could sell, but none of that would come that fast to be able to pay these guys back. And it is what it is. They wanted their money. The last day came, and guess what? I still didn't have the money. I was thinking about leaving the country, moving away somewhere, and just running. But the main thing that came into my head, and this is how toxic your head gets after making money like that. You think about it, if I leave, you know, I won't make money like that no more. I'm going to be poor. And it was one of the biggest things that I had to deal with when I actually got out of that life and moved to Arizona, was that I actually had to get a job. I actually had to go to work every day. I didn't get to wake up at 10 and go eat at a nice restaurant and go hang out on the block and make money and just have money. It was a big like shock to me when I had to jump on the bus when I didn't have nothing no more. The first time I got on the bus, I cried. I cried because how did I go from being who I was to being that? But now that I look at it, it was the most humbling experience I could have ever went through. Because like I say now, you know, with pain comes change if you let it follow the process. If you just experience pain, but you keep doing the same thing, then there is no change. And that's what I mean, is that if you let the process go and you actually change, experiencing the pain, you turn into something, you know, different. At the end, I ended up getting the money. Would you think that I stopped right there and, you know, changed my life? No, I didn't. I kept on going. I kept on doing it. I was lucky enough that a very close friend of mine helped me get that money. But somebody in their normal or right state of mind would have stopped after that and got out the game. I wasn't ready because, you know, I had just opened up my restaurant. I had just got my house. I had just got matching Mercedes with me and my wife at the time. And I wasn't ready to leave that life because I wanted more. Greed, 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 greed. And it just got worse and worse. The moral of the story is, you know, like I tell everybody on my channel, is that I share my story not to glamorize nothing I did, but to teach you a lesson that I'm one of the lucky ones. I made it out. Yes, I spent a lot of time incarcerated. It was a big cost, but I made it out. A lot of people don't make it out. They're either dead or they're doing life in prison. I made it out. I don't have enemies. I am working a 9-to-5 job, and I'm happy. I might not have what I had before, and I'm okay with that because I sleep good at night. I don't have to worry about nobody kicking in my door. I don't have to worry about somebody shooting me up in my car at the red light. All those things. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I miss it sometimes? I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it real. I always keep it real. Yeah, I do miss it sometimes. I do miss it sometimes because I did it for years. And it was a rush that I had in my life. I can't sit here and say, no, I don't miss, you know, having $10,000 in my pocket just to spend. I can't say that because I would be fake. Yes, but am I at a state of mind now where I could think things clearly and say, is it worth it? Fuck no, it's not. But back then I wasn't thinking like that because a lot of things were clouding my mind. The pain from my childhood, the drugs, the lifestyle, just everything. So little by little, you start to get better. It never gets easy. You just get better at it. You get better at making better decisions. Because it all depends what wolf you feed the most. So what I mean by that is if you want to change your life, you can't keep going back to where you were. You actually have to try and leave that place back behind you and keep moving forward. There's nothing wrong with looking back to remember where you came from, but you got to keep moving forward. And there's nothing wrong with going back and saying hi and getting the fuck out of there really quick, but you got to keep moving forward. And that's the thing. I share my stories about my life to give you motivation, hope, and encouragement that people can change and that yes, you can make it out. We all have a purpose in life. Whether it's to be a good mechanic, cook, a trainer, YouTuber. We all have a purpose. None of us have a purpose to live in pain or live in prison. Not only prison, but mental and all the stuff that comes with drug addiction and that lifestyle. We all have a purpose, but you need to find your purpose. I'm JC, and I am wrongtostrong. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This week, I'm going to tell you stories about my life, my story, stuff that's going to be in my book in a couple of months is going to be released. And I'm just sharing this so you guys see a part of me that a lot of people don't get to see. Peace.